All right. Just gonna let people gather in here really quick and we'll get started. So if you're watching this archive, welcome. Not gonna just get moving just yet. We're gonna give it a little bit of time. All right. Yeah, we got a pretty good mass, critical mass coming in now. So we'll just get started. Let's do this, right? Just going to talk about ongoing storm setup right now across the central southern plains, really southern plains into the southeast Arklatex region. Let me get this right here so we can just take a look at where our threat area is tonight. This is a dangerous setup because this is all happening overnight, and that's just, it's obviously not great. Enhanced risk right here, surrounded by a slight risk, big marginal risk on every side of it. So that's just like, this is a worst case kind of scenario because you don't want to have a risk area happening this time of night for sure. This is right perfect in the middle of, right square in the middle of the night. It's when all this is going to be happening. So it's not great. But if you take a look here, oh my goodness, I got a cord that's just like, let's get this fixed. We'll just have to do that, and I'll do something else here in a second. But we've got just several storms actually that are just out formed. There are so many storms happening out there right now. Just very widespread coverage. Let me get this other light turned on really quick. There we go. So there's just several storms that have formed out through here. Taking a look here, you can see just a bunch of little cells, pretty solid course. There's one severe storm here east of Hector, Arkansas. Hell is 1 inch. Winds are less than 50 miles an hour. So these things are elevated. Here, I would suspect, given the temperatures 54, 52, 54. So that means these right now are rooted above the surface. We're looking down south here where the temperatures are in the 60s, higher dew points, 61 dew point, 58, 62. These are where the higher dew points are, and certainly where I think the higher tornado threat is further south. We're going to talk about that here in a second, look at mesoanalysis, and really, kind of break this stuff down. But looks like I got my little golden retriever puppy with me tonight. So, this is a setup where I could certainly see there's a really good reason why the risk area has been outlined the way it is, right? So, and let's take a look at it. Well, here's the mesoanalysis, and let's go ahead and pop up the annotate tool. Here is the surface low. Surface low is right here. Let's choose a better color. That does not show up well. Surface low is right there. You can kind of see you have flow coming all around both sides like this. You can kind of see there's a little bit of a spiral going on right there. You can also see just very clearly here, cold front is diving south as well. So what we're going to see as the night goes on is that this low right here, this surface low, is going to lift northeast. It's lifting northeast. This is the low that's going to be responsible for the blizzard conditions in the Midwest. It's the low that's responsible for these tornadic conditions tonight. So this thing is just going to be the weather maker right now, centered over southern Oklahoma. And it's just going to move northeast throughout the evening. In fact, if you take a look here, let me get rid of this for a second, this annotate. You can actually see we got some storms that have formed ahead of that low, actually, here in eastern Oklahoma, east side of Tulsa, running down through Beggs, Boley, down toward Wewoka. So these storms are part of a line of storms that are going to take shape throughout the night. We'll talk about that in a second. There's 2 different rounds of storms, but I prefer to start with where we're at right now. So let's take a look at the temperature wind dew point. And this map probably quite confusing when you first look at it if you aren't sure what you're looking at. But here's a couple of things to keep in mind. See the shaded area down here? This, let me just see if I can't just use this yellow tab here. This area down here, that's moisture. That's the high moisture content, this hatch shaded area. And what's happening as this low is drawing this moisture north. And so that moisture is coming north. And as well, you have this cold front. You can see these are just very bitterly cold temperatures diving south right now. Coldest air of the season is coming for us all right now. It's going to be a pretty brutal next week or so, to be sure. Not a good time to be have a golden retriever puppy who needs plenty of walks, because that's going to suck. But we do have just a lot of plentiful moisture moving north, good heat, instability, that sort of thing. We'll talk about all that. So that's where we're at in terms of like these surface observations. Looking at theta E, rich theta air is still pretty far south, actually. So it's not quite there. The theta E air, that's a little bit more of a technical thing, but just know that's something that you look for instability, especially towards the evening. You can see here 2-hour pressure changes. You can see how they're just, it speaks for itself. So what's happening? What's causing all this? Well, you see this is the upper air chart. This is the upper levels of the atmosphere, upper jet stream winds. And this is showing the trough here at 300 millibars. Are you going to make noise back there? Okay. Going to make noise tonight too. Nice trough coming in here. Definitely the type of thing. We need a better color than that. This trough blowing in right here. And this is what this trough is doing, is that this trough is creating a ton of lift. It's creating a ton of lift, because what this is doing, it's evacuating air. Then you get that air below, filling it in. So that means it's lifting. You got just a ton of lift happening ahead of this trough as it moves in tonight. And if you look here, we'll go to 500 millibar. Same story. You can see this trough just coming in. You have actually 120 knot jet stream back here at 500 millibars. That's, gosh, I'm doing it in my head, 130, 135 miles an hour, 15,000 feet off the surface. That's really powerful. This is a really powerful system moving on in. And so here, let's take a look at the 850. 1 second. We got to look at this dog. Can you see him? Let's see if we can get him on camera. Look at this dog. Oh, I don't know if I can do it. There he is right there. Look at him. He's that dog bed has met its match here. He has met its match with the dog bed. Sam is just absolutely, so apologies for that, for Sam being completely out of control this evening. Kids, right? Kids. But anyways, the 850 millibar winds, this is very critical for the for how, oh, come on, SPC, let's get that out of here. Oh no, I don't know how to get it off of there. Oh, click top banner to hide. Okay. Oh, live, right? Live. So what's happening here is that look at this, 50 knots right here. You can see a nice 50 knots. This is the low level jet, and you can see it's just spreading moisture. These green lines are the leading edge of the green line is the richest moisture, and you can see it just gets richer the further south you go. This is all being pulled north. And as you remember, our risk area right now is in this region. So this air is just continuing to be pulled north into this region tonight. So just like a pure synoptic view of this environment, I mean, this is a classic type of storm system ejecting out off hour type of tornado risk. And you can see here, once again, 925 millibars. You can see how the winds turn. If you take a look at your surface-based CAPE, this is what we're going to be looking for. This is like the key to the night and what happens, because you can see there's just not a lot of surface-based CAPE here, right? I mean, that's 500, got 1,000 right here, 1,000 down here. This is all being drawn north, like we talked about. It is all definitely being drawn to the north, but it's just, it's not very rich right now. So you're not seeing these storms take off, because this up here is an environment that's really kind of made for elevated storms. So storms are rooted above the surface. Say the ground's right here, and you have your surface layer in this area with all the moisture and such. And on a typical storm day, this air would lift upwards, and you would get a storm, right? You would get a storm cloud that forms from that. Well, what's happening here is the opposite, is a little bit different. What's happening tonight is that air down here is just setting still, and the air up here is lifting. And so that means your storms are elevated above the surface. They're elevated above that surface layer where that air is just not moving. So it's not being heated and lifting. So your storms are based above that, which limits your tornado threat significantly. So you'll need this surface instability to move north into this region tonight. That's what you're going to need for to get tornadoes tonight. Take a look at the mixed layer CAPE. You can see a little bit better, 500 millibars. It goes all the way up. So I would guess that somewhere in here you have a bit of a changeover, and you can get possible tornadic type of conditions. And we're going through SPC Mesoanalysis, by the way, is the website we're going through. And yes, I mean, significant tornado parameter showing there's definitely a tornado environment taking shape in this region tonight. It's going to depend on several things. Here's the 0 to 500 meter. What are you doing back there, man? Just absolutely losing his mind. 3 on this parameter, which is pretty good, on pretty favorable. And let's just see. I don't think hail size is a big deal. So yeah, I didn't think so. So hail, I don't know if hail is going to be that big of a deal. You can see great 3 CAPE here. This is if you have watched our videos, watch videos I've made, you'll know that anytime you see 3 CAPE, your ears should perk up, and especially when you start getting bullseyes overlaid with the surface vorticity. So I would say that certainly we're seeing a tornado environment take shape as we speak right now in the Arklatex region. And I mean, it's all going to come down to a few things to be sure. If you take a look, let's go back over here to the radar, and I'll actually make it a little bit bigger. So here's our current storms right now, right? So you got this line taking shape here across eastern Oklahoma, but then you have some banding going on. You have some banding going on out here, bunch of storms. This one even showing some cyclonic curvature to it. But yeah, I mean, these are all kind of elevated, right? They're elevated above that surface right now. What we're looking for, though, and you see it on the weather maps, is you see these storms, once you get down about in this region, you start seeing a better chance of surface-based storms, and then it kind of goes back up there. So what we're looking for right now, I think, is we're looking for some of these storms to possibly take off and get moving. Also, just a horrible radar hole through here too. But what the key tonight, I think, is very simple. The environment's there for tornadoes. Like, you get a lot of days where you get an environment that's pretty favorable for tornadoes. Like, that's oftentimes not the problem, is having the ingredients there for tornadoes. The problem, what you run into, is what are your storms doing? Like what's your storm mode? Because what you're seeing right now is you're seeing these storms just really crowd up. I don't know what color is going to work here. Yellow wouldn't work. Purple, maybe. I need a better color to highlight. I don't know. I need to think that one through next time. Hey, it's Edgar. I see Edgar. Can I get down here and highlight Edgar? Say hi to Edgar. There's Edgar. Look at Edgar. Great storm chaser. You should follow him, Edgar the Storm Chaser. So the key tonight is storm mode. Really, it's what we're looking at. Like, what's our storm mode going to be? Because a lot of nights have big time tornado parameters. They do, and you don't get big time tornado events all the time. It's because usually storm mode is the thing that's like changing and lacking on a lot of these nights. So right now, I think as this warm, moist, unstable air is drawn north this way, you're going to see these storms. Probably a couple of them turn into supercells. They're going to organize, become supercells, and do their thing. So let's take a look at a model really quick. We've kind of gotten a good feel for what is going on. And as you go forward, you can see exactly what you're seeing on the radar right now happening. The thing that it's not picking up very well on is that this HRRR is not picking up on this line of storms out here. Let's see what the new run says. Okay, the new one's actually a little bit more picking up, but it's still coming out. So, but you can see these storms will form. You're going to get a line, second line out of this. This is 7Z, so this is 6 hours, 5 hours away. So 5 hours away, you'll get this line. But these storms out here will still be going on. Let's take a box sounding and take a look at what this environment looks like. And you can see, let me zoom in right here. Oh, yeah. Oh, come on. There we go. You can see this photograph. This is a photograph. Again, watch our channel if you have no idea what you're looking at. Really great. Here's your right moving storm motion. Technically, I would be willing to bet the shear's so strong. That's probably pretty close, actually. But you got some pretty good streamwise. Oh, that was not great. Let's try this instead. Yeah, I got some pretty good streamwise in the lower 1 kilometer of the atmosphere. So this is going to be very favorable for tornadoes. And also you got some good streamwise and even a little bit of and definitely a crosswise component there. But you've got a definite environment that's built for possible tornadoes. These storms could certainly rotate as you go through the evening. And taking a look over here at our the key obviously is this right here. This is the key. This is one of the keys I'm looking at is what are we looking at here? This is your air parcel, a surface air parcel. This is temperature, dew point, and this is with height as you go up in the atmosphere. This is like going up in the atmosphere. And what you're seeing is that when stuff goes like this, that means the temperature is falling. When it goes like that, the temperature is rising. Let's clear all that out because that's going to get confusing if I keep using a bunch of arrows. But what I'm seeing is that this right here, the difference between this is your cape, right? So that's what you would be calculating for the cape. I'm seeing a very skinny cape profile because oftentimes, like in the spring, just to give you some context, you'll often see like cape do something like this, and so that's the big time instability. That's your big time instability. What you're seeing here is more skinny, more narrow, and more prone to interruptions. To me, that's what this is saying, is that these storms are going to need to be a little bit isolated, because when you have this type of instability in place where it's very skinny, very limited, that sort of thing, storm interactions between each other are really going to slow things down. They're going to gum up the process. I mean, you got incredible winds over here. But yeah, this is absolutely going to affect your storm's ability to really take off, rotate, that sort of thing. Because if you can't get a storm to really get and become dominant, that's going to be a problem for storm sustenance. But you see, just throughout the night, this is midnight right here. There's going to be a line of storms. Pretty clear. We've already got a line of storms developing. There's going to be a line of storms from here all the way probably down to Waco. There's going to already be a line of storms by midnight, or 1 a.m. Central. Goodness, I'm not converting. And you can see there's just not much updraft helicity being generated by this model. And I think the reason for that is because storms are probably interfering with each other pretty heavily, and it's hard to get a mesocyclone developed. But yeah, you can see as you head through the night, this cape profile here is a lot fatter, right? Looks a lot better as you go through the night, but this shear actually gets a lot worse. Lots of crosswiseness there. So I think this is a night that has a lot of potential for sure. But what I'm seeing here is that it might be you're going to need a dominant supercell to get something done, or a spin up along the leading edge of the line. And out here, as you go into early tomorrow morning, that's pretty good. That's pretty stout instability, or wind shear instability as well. So I don't know. This is definitely a setup that I'm intrigued by, to put it mildly, because anytime, and also worried about, because anytime you're talking about storms in the middle of the night, like, it's not good, right? People, this is life-threatening type of stuff, because people are already probably going to sleep. Probably some haven't even thought about the fact that the weather is going to turn bad tonight, probably, and yeah, it's not good. That's not good at all. So yeah, we're just going to have to keep an eye on that. So let's go up here. Let's take a look at models for the other side of the system. So you have your low center over here, back here in Oklahoma. Throughout the night, this low is going to move northeast and deepen. It's going to get stronger. When I say deepen, I mean the low is going to get deeper. It's going to get stronger, and it's going to move northeast, right? And as this deepens, let's actually move now to the Midwest. So as this low moves northeast and deepens, you're going to have a couple of things happen in response to that. First is that you're going to have stronger winds develop around this. So that's going to set the stage for possible blizzard conditions across places like Chicago, etc. Let's take a look at the watch. And you can see here, right now, you got blizzard warnings right here across Iowa, parts of southern Minnesota, back here to western Illinois, winter weather advisory, winter storm warning here in Nebraska. Lots and lots and lots of wind advisories and high wind. This system, when you see that, when you see wind advisories and high wind warnings everywhere, that means you got a really strong system, tight gradients. You get wind when you get those tight pressure gradients. Like when you see these lines on a map like this really close together, that means you got strong winds at the surface. So you're going to get blizzard conditions here in Iowa. Here, let's take a look. I just want to see what that looks like. Yeah, that's pretty substantial. Northerly winds at 20 knots, so 25 miles an hour, blinding snow, all the things. And this is going to move to the north and east throughout the night. And let's go to 0Z so we can actually go past tomorrow morning. And it just look how I just want to point this out. 984, that's already a really strong low. That's really strong. And you just keep bottoming out. My gosh, all the way down to 970. And this is just lots of snow. I'm curious to see what the snowfall totals the HRRR is pulling out here. So let's see. Let's see what it's throwing. Let's just go snowfall, total snowfall depth change. Let's see what it says. Well, look at that pile right on up. It's pretty good. If you're from Iowa, 7 inches of snow, 15 inches of snow, it's not unheard of, right? You've seen this before, but with the winds, it will make travel, even for you folks up north who are used to snow, makes it a little bit more dangerous. Whiteout conditions, you can't be from anywhere and make that work very well. So you're going to have trouble. But yeah, generally 6 to 12 inches, it looks like, is what the HRRR is throwing out. One of my favorite tools in the world to use is the HREF. I hope it never goes away, but I think the plan is still to get rid of it in favor of the Rufus model. It and all the other models as well, getting rid of it for the Rufus model. But let's see, winter weather. I'm actually curious. Threshold probs. Let's see. So pretty good shot of in the next 12 hours of more than 4 inches of snow here in Nebraska. This is for 8 inches and then for a foot. So models aren't really throwing out foot totals over the next 12 hours. Then, but go 12 beyond that, it doesn't look like it's going to load. We're not quite there yet. So, but yeah, that's right in line with what we're seeing on the HRRR. So it's right in line with it. Let's see. But I do want to, let's check another model out. Let's check the FV3, which is Rufus's big brother. It's the lower resolution version of Rufus. Yeah, I mean, it's very similar story. I mean, the thing about the FV3 is that it does tend to be a bit overcooked. So I don't know if you're actually going to get 17 inches of snow or 15 inches of snow in Chicago. It does tend to be a little overcooked. So I don't know if that's going to happen, but I think 6 to 12 seems like a pretty good bet just looking at it from where I'm at. And let's see, that's the other thing I'm curious about, freezing rain. Yeah, looks, I mean, there's going to be this is a system where you're going to have a bit of a changeover. So you'll have a small, looks like small area of freezing rain as well. So I actually want to skip back down here. Maybe Ohio Valley. Yeah, Ohio Valley's great. Let's see what the FV3 does with the convection, and then we'll bounce over to Rufus. So yeah, just doing something pretty similar. It doesn't develop stuff out west. It tries to rotate storms through Arkansas and then just blows stuff through. Let's take a look at what Rufus says. It's out 15 hours, so it can handle at least the overnight. And so this is the model that's going to replace the HRRR. 3Z, that's an hour from now. Says they're going to be rotating storms everywhere. Says they're going to be rotating storms back in northeast Oklahoma as well. Don't know if that's happening, but lots and lots of storms. Let's see how I do like how Rufus does manage to in the environments. I don't know if I like how it does the storm schemes completely, but yeah. We're looking at this in real time. Oh, sounds like we got a severe thunderstorm warning just issued. So yeah, I mean, this is let's turn this on. You see this cape's a lot fatter on Rufus, a lot fatter cape right there, which would be a little bit more favorable for hail sizes. A little bit, very low topped. I mean, tops are below 300 millibars right there. So but you can see how these winds, they start here from the south, southwest, and they turn. I mean, that's the type of turning, and that's what you see over here on the hodograph. Right there. Those two things are coinciding with each other. Yeah, this looks interesting. Interesting night, for sure. I'm curious about this severe thunderstorm warning. I think it's this one right here, which just issued. Yeah, just issued. Let's see what it is. 1 inch, less than 50 miles an hour. So not a big, robust hail producer. It's just marginally severe. Let's take a look at our velocities and see if there's anything in there. Not seeing anything, really. It doesn't have the shape. This thing, I mean, typically for a tornadic type of storm, you're looking for, wow, that's a horrible color to be drawing right there. You're looking for a shape like that, and this storm obviously has kind of this, which tells you most likely, and you can kind of see it here south and west of Odin, you can see some strong winds. They're pushing this along. So that's outflow driven right now. And you go back here, that one right there, south of northwest of Texarkana. Man, there's just no good radar for that, is there? No good radar. Shreveport might be the best, or Fort Smith isn't the best. Dallas, man, that's such a bad radar hole right there. So, but I mean, yeah, and let's see now, that's a better view. Fort Smith, see, we got a much better view here. That one now, that's a little bit more concerning. A little bit more concerning now, looking at a different radar view. Very important to do that. It's a great question, Ryan. I'll get to that in a second. But here you can see, that's interesting. Here's southwest of Odin. I can see it. I can see that now. Definitely a meso ramping up. So that one's one we'll need to watch. Might get the tornado warning alarm with that one. That one's got the look. Because what you're seeing right now is you're seeing the, oh, there we go. This is the first time I've used this annotate tool in quite a while, so I'm struggling here. You're seeing winds blow here and winds blow like this. So obviously, I mean, you got some rotation happening right here in the lowest levels. But actually, this is quite a bit up. Oh, let's do this. I mean, if you zoom out here, You can see you're far enough from the radar that's showing a mesocyclone, I think, but it's also far enough away that you're still looking quite a ways up in the storm. Another one down here. So, and honestly, with these easterly winds, this might be, it almost looks like the warm front, but not quite. It's just, I don't know how surface based that is. Could be something to look at. Yeah, this is a great question from Ryan. Yes, I've seen it before. Typically, you see them downgrade a lot, actually, whenever the initial expectation, that was the most obvious freaking thing ever. The initial expectations were not met, right? But typically when they downgrade like that, it's a sign that things aren't coming together. And it does happen. They do bring it back. They do sometimes bring the risk back up, but also that's probably more rare than them downgrading, because they don't typically downgrade either. Because this was the risk area tomorrow, right? And this, I'm on the NAM. That's worthless for an environment like tomorrow, because it's going to be cool and moist, so it's not going to really model tomorrow very well. So let's take a look at that environment into tomorrow. And I guess this is tomorrow morning, so that was also worthless. Let's go. Let's go a little bit further. And let's take a look at Georgia here toward the afternoon, early afternoon. Yeah, that's the problem right there, though. So, yeah, and definitely that radar hole is awful right there. So what the problem? I'm sure you know this, Ryan. So, but for someone who doesn't know, is remember earlier when I say temperatures going like that means they're falling, but when they go like that, they're rising, right? Let me see something really quick. How do I annotate shortcuts? How do I erase? How do I erase? Okay, delete. Okay, cool. We're learning on the fly. I haven't used this tool in a while, but right here, you can see that's exactly happening. This air would be still. It's that still air. So you're not getting the lift happening. The lift is coming from up here. So your storm's not based down here at the surface, right? So what you need is you need the temperature line to be somewhere like back in here, which is temperatures inland 60, almost 70, and then you would have an environment more conducive for tornadoes ahead of everything. So, but what you're looking at instead is that this is an environment that, like, this wind shear, I mean, that is ridiculous. That when I'm looking at that photograph, look at this SRH value, 723, 832. Let's zoom in on that so you can eat your heart out. Oh, come on. I know. I believe in you. You can do this, browser. I believe in you. There you go. Yeah, look at those SRH values. That's pretty. That's really high end. That's almost inconceivably high end. Put it mildly. Oh no. So, but what will happen is, yes, Samantha, that's yes, high winds. I think that's absolutely what you're looking at tomorrow in Alabama, because what you're going to get is you're going to have this awesome shear, incredible shear, and you're going to have a little bit better of is that super saturated, folks? That's another super saturated area right there. I'm becoming a pro at finding those, I swear. Super saturated there at 850, so that'll be some thick cloud cover. But your instability is limited. Your surface instability is 0 on that sounding ahead of the line, but your most unstable is 409, right? So you do have instability, and you're going to have enough lift. You're going to be able to sustain storms, right? But it's not going to be this. This does not look like a super high-end tornado environment like you might have thought if you could get some instability. That was the question. We talked about it on the blog a couple of times. If you could get the instability, like, great lapse rates aloft here, looks amazing, but you have this cool surface layer, and that's not conducive for tornadoes. It's hard to get tornadoes if the near surface layer is that stable. It just doesn't happen very well. And so you can see what happens too. Probably should point this out too. One reflectivity type, you see that low moves northeast, right? And then you get really good rain moving north and east through here. So I know there's flooding concerns for New England, etc. So that's something to keep in mind. But Let's take a look at this storm again. I'm curious about it. Yeah, I mean, it's like, let me pull a sounding from that. What does HRRR say about that? I'm trying to spitball it on the HRRR because HRRR is really hard to get right on a sounding if you don't know the local geography, of which I do not know Arkansas very well. Geography. Okay, let's go back here, right about there, or right in here. Yeah, that's what's happening. Got great shear, but a pretty near surface stable layer. Let's do this and pull that again. Right there. I want to see. So that's what these storms are probably dealing with. A little bit warmer. So, I mean, that's not inconceivable because your near surface layer is probably not nearly as bad. It's more like this. So you do have a little bit of a stable layer here, about this deep, but then it's unstable beyond that. So I mean, it's very possible that thing that you could, I mean, it's not inconceivable that you could see a tornado with that, right? It's not inconceivable, but it's also not something that I'm particularly like, yeah, I don't know. So yeah, we're trying not to do live radar stuff though. So, but it's happening as we're talking about this system as a whole. Let's take a look at the broad view and show you I mean, this is just awesome as a weather nerd, just this storm system, 113, 115 knots. This is, it's 18Z. Come on. I don't want 18Z. I guess I'm getting 18Z. I will get 18Z and like it. But yeah, you see that's the storm system moves off. And then you have this jet stream remains active, but it's a weird configuration. You don't see this all that often where it dives south out of Canada through the Four Corners and then into the Southern Plains, Oklahoma, Texas. But that's what you're getting here. But an ideal setup, though, for some big time winter cold and possibly some winter weather. Let's take a look at our temperatures. I just want to show you this. This gets ridiculous in a hurry. But let's be responsible. Let's be responsible because we are. Yeah, let's just say I'm being responsible. Go to the NBM, which is kind of a blend. It's a national blend of models, so it's kind of blending everything. So you see how cold this shot of air here is. Just goes right on down south. You're going to bottom out below freezing, warm up a little bit, but it's going to be cold. But look at this air up here building, right? Look at that. Just mega Arctic cold, minus 34, minus 38. And as you go into the late weekend, you get temperatures down in the single digits all the way south into Oklahoma. Monday, oh my gosh, it keeps spilling south. This is Monday morning, single digits, below zero up in Kansas. You're going to top out in the low teens here in Oklahoma City, single digits in Kansas, below zero. You're not going to get above zero up in Nebraska. Yeah, cold stuff. By the way, not to make all of you jealous, but in the plains, but being someone who lives in Albuquerque right now, I just want to point out it's going to be nice. It's going to be a balmy 43. Mountains are going to be damming up that cold air. I'm not going to have to worry about it. It's going to get nice and balmy. I might drive south here a couple hours, get into the 50s, right? So it's definitely a day. It's kind of nice to be on this side of the Rockies. And then as you go into Tuesday morning, that's when this all bottoms out. This whole air mass really bottoms out because you see it's starting to modify up here. So that cold air is really coming, really beginning to erode. And then you see it's like, it's there. It's not going to warm up. That jet stream and how it's set up, it's not going to get warmer. It's going to stay pretty cold throughout the whole thing. So very cold air coming up. Total snowfall. Ooh, let's check out this. And as you can see, we go all the way to the end of the period. You can see how far south the blend of models is producing snow through the day 10 period into late January. Oh my gosh, come on. Let's not do that. I mean, you could get snow as far south as like South Little Rock, talking about places like Memphis, even down here in Jackson, Birmingham. You could see some you can see some snow pretty far south. And this is once you get in this part of the country, like when you get like an inch of snow, it shuts the whole region down, right? So it's a pretty major impact of a storm if you can get that. But this is some pretty healthy snowpack if you can get this, and this helps sustain cold and strengthen those big cold shots as they come south too. So just pointing that out too. Let's take one look at one more model, mainly because I'm curious. Let's see what the Euro does, just point blank. So you can see how the blend of models is a little different than the Euro. It doesn't bring the snow nearly as far south here in the Mid-South, but you do get snow all the way down to like DFW on the Euro. But so, I mean, it's a busy time. This is a busy storm pattern. I actually, from what I am seeing, it's going to continue to be busy. There's a CPC. No, we're not quite to the new 3-month outlook, so I won't even bother looking at that. But you can see as you go into the last parts of the month, continuing below normal on our temperatures here. Oh my goodness, we're jumping around. And then you get into weeks 3 and 4, you get into the late part of January into early February, continuing that. Warmer out here in the west, colder here, more precip above normal. So long range outlook is continuing to be quite favorable for all kinds of stuff. And then if you go here, I mean, you can see I've already looked at it. I keep an eye on this stuff, but you can see the March, April, May outlook, pretty solid. May, June, and July, below normal. And April, May, June, you kind of have the equal chances. So I think CPC is telegraphing maybe what I might be doing with my seasonal outlook as well. But, I mean, this is a busy weather map. That's colorful. There's a lot of stuff happening out there. It's a really cool time to be a weather enthusiast, to be sure. Let's take a look. Yeah, they've worn this one. This one's got that cyclonic look to it now. That mezzo looks like a complete and utter mess, though. It definitely had a mezzo, has a mezzo, but it might be just elevated. It might be elevated above the surface. I think it definitely is if the further north it goes here. So probably not as much, but yeah, you see another one back here. This one's for 60-mile-per-hour winds, not even severe hail. So yeah, it's going to be a busy night. I would say if you live in this region, enhanced risk region, this area is circled in the orange especially, but even in the yellow, you want to make sure, are you chewing? Okay, you're good. You can chew on that. You never know with this dog. But I think definitely this region right here, you just like, I'm just going to draw a circle around this, like all of this, I would like 100% make sure that weather radio's on tonight, and then even surrounding that. So make sure your weather radios are on if you have one. Otherwise, I mean, make sure that your phone alerts are on. Make sure you got a way to get something to wake you up if a tornado warning is issued, because this is dangerous tonight. Not enjoying the thought of it, but we'll see. But yeah, I think that's good. We've gone 45 minutes. I think that's pretty good. Yes, you are coming. Edward is right. Coming out of a drought, big drought actually. So it's going to be good to get the South out of a drought. I mean, geez, let's go over here. CPC. Show you that. That's something else I'm looking for in terms of the severe weather season is our drought status. My outlook is coming out late February, but drought monitor here. You can see really bad out here in New Mexico. Still some lingering drought, Oklahoma, Texas, but really bad, like very dry out here in like the Mid-South, South. So even up here in the Central Plains. So there's some drought to be gotten rid of, but these repeated storm system, this storm system is definitely on the move. Yes, East Tennessee. Yeah, you're tons of drought right there. It's a great question, Ryan. Honestly, I think it's like, I'm trying to think of a friendly way to say this, that it's like, that will make sense. Basically, there's a certain storm motion, and it's usually when it's kind of running toward the radar that you want to maybe switch to Storm Relative, right? But the problem with Storm Relative on any product, and the reason why I never use this, because you get this like, it's not nearly as fine of detail, right, as the high res velocity. So what you do, I think you oftentimes will see like weaker outbounds and stronger outbounds on stuff like that. And that's all. I tend to use velocity regardless. Storm Relative, I know some people love it, but I don't like how it's just like not fine detail at all. Like that, you lose so much resolution on, especially here on Radar Omega. I'm sure there's a possibility to get Storm Relative on a high. What are you doing, man? Chewing on my chair, metal chair? That's fine. Teething puppies, folks. But yeah, so I mean, I don't have a really good way to recommend one or the other, because I just tend to use high res because of the resolution difference. I mean, I hate it. I hate that's like the best way to describe it. Storm Relative is helpful when you do have radar motions that are fast and running kind of toward the radar or away from the radar, like directly. But yeah, I'm not a huge fan of Storm Relative for the reasons I said. Just the resolution I'm not a fan of. So, all right, I think that takes care of that. Let's loop this, and I just want to show you. Look how many storms are happening. That's just so much lift happening in the atmosphere. We'll see how much. Thanks, Ryan. That was not my best explanation. I promise I will do better next time on that one. For me, it's just the resolution difference is why I pick regular over Storm Relative. But lots and lots of storms tonight. Tons of lift in the atmosphere. Tons of storms happening. We're going to have increasing moisture and instability. Better chances of tornadoes as we go through the evening. But if you get the storm crowding with the instability being what it is, it's going to be tougher to get tornadoes. But we'll see. Hopefully that is the case, and we wake up tomorrow, there were 0 tornadoes. Everyone slept safe and sound, and we can worry about tomorrow's setup. So with that said, I am going to get off here and go hibernate. So that's a good idea for me. So glad you're all here. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.